My girlfriend admitted she'd forged my signature to co-sign a car loan for her brother, saying, "You can handle the cost." I responded calmly, "I understand." Then I contacted my bank and the police to report the identity theft. On the day her brother's wedding took place, the repossession truck rolled into the church parking lot at precisely 2:15 p.m. I was parked 3 vehicles away, watching the scene unfold. Her brother, Tony, was inside tying the knot, unaware that his shiny new Dodge Charger was about to be towed. This all began 6 weeks earlier when I came home from work and saw Lauren at our kitchen table, her laptop open and a pile of documents beside her. She looked uneasy but tried to mask it. I asked what she was doing. She snapped her laptop shut and mumbled something about paying bills. We'd been together for 2 years, and she'd been living in my house for about 14 months. Our relationship was solid enough. She had her office job, I had mine, and we split the cost of utilities and groceries even though I owned the place. Felt fair. That evening, she kept glancing at her phone, grinning in a secretive way. I didn't press her, as I'm not one to pry over someone's phone. I figured the truth would surface if it was important. For days later, my bank called. The representative asked if I'd applied for a car loan recently. I said no. She explained they'd received an application with my details and needed to confirm before approving it. I told her I hadn't submitted anything and to deny it immediately. She noted it in their system and advised me to check my credit report. I hung up and pulled my credit report right away. There was a recent inquiry for an auto loan from the previous day. The application hadn't been approved yet, thanks to the bank's verification process. My name, social security number, everything was there. Someone had used my identity. Lauren walked in from work about 20 minutes later, saw me staring at my laptop, and asked what was wrong. I told her someone had tried to take out a car loan in my name. Her face drained of color. She sat down and said she had something to confess. She explained that her brother Tony desperately needed a car. His credit was ruined from past repossessions and missed payments. He'd found a Charger he wanted but couldn't get approved. She decided to help by submitting an application as a co-signer using my information, assuming I'd be okay with it once I heard the full story. I asked if she was serious. She said Tony needed reliable transportation, and my credit was strong. She claimed it wouldn't cost me anything since Tony would cover the payments. I asked how she got my social security number. She admitted she'd found it in tax papers in my filing cabinet. I told her that was fraud. She got defensive, saying fraud was too harsh a word. She was just helping her family, and I should want to help too after 2 years together. I pointed out that helping would have meant asking me first. She admitted she knew I'd say no, so she took matters into her own hands. I stood up and told her to call Tony and tell him the loan wasn't happening. She refused, saying the dealership was expecting him to pick up the car in 2 days. I said that wasn't my problem. She started crying, saying her whole family was counting on this, and that Tony had already sold his old car for the down payment. I told her I was calling the bank to report identity theft. She panicked, grabbed my arm, and begged me not to. She said it would destroy Tony and make her family hate me. I pulled away and made the call. The bank representative I spoke to this time was stern. They took all the details and asked if I wanted to file a formal fraud report. I said yes. They assured me the application would be stopped and an investigation would begin. Lauren was sobbing by then. I hung up and told her to leave for the night. She argued that this was her home too. I reminded her that my name was on the deed and the locks. She called me every awful name she could think of, accusing me of ruining her brother's life. I told her she should have thought about that before stealing my identity. She grabbed her purse and keys, stormed out, and slammed the door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. The next morning, I went to the police station and filed a report for identity theft and attempted fraud. The officer said domestic cases like this could be tricky but promised to process the report. I gave him copies of all the bank documents. He said a detective would follow up. Lauren texted me around 50 times that day, apologies, anger, then more apologies. Then her mom called from Lauren's phone. I answered once. Her mom accused me of tearing their family apart, saying Tony had 3 kids and needed the car for work. I told her Tony should have managed his money better and not committed fraud. She hung up on me. 3 days later, someone knocked on my door at 8 p.m. Through the peephole, I saw Lauren's dad, a burly guy who'd worked construction for decades. I opened the door with the chain on. He said we needed to talk like men. I said we could talk through the chain. He told me I was making a huge mistake, that Tony was family, and family looks out for each other. He called me selfish and spiteful. I said I wasn't the one who stole someone's identity. He stepped closer, saying I needed to rethink what I was doing to his family. I pulled out my phone, started recording, and gave him 30 seconds to leave my property. He glared, called me a coward, and walked away. The bank wrapped up their investigation in 2 weeks, confirming the signature was forged and the application was fraudulent. They closed the case and sent me documentation, which I forwarded to the police detective. That's when I learned about the wedding. Lauren's sister posted online about Tony's upcoming marriage, a fancy outdoor ceremony. I checked the date and did the math. I called the detective to ask about progress. He said they had enough to charge Lauren but needed a few more details, likely taking another few weeks. I mentioned the wedding and the car, and he said he'd see what he could do. Here's where it gets wild. Tony had somehow gotten the car anyway, not through my information since the bank stopped that. He'd convinced his dad to co-sign at a different dealership for a different charger. His dad's credit was just good enough. I found this out when Lauren showed up at my house one afternoon. I didn't let her in, but we spoke through the screen door. She said Tony got his car, so all my drama was pointless. I told her the drama came from her committing fraud. She said I should let it go. I asked if she'd told the police she tried to steal my identity. She said her lawyer thought it'd be hard to prove intent. I didn't respond, just told her we were done and to stop coming by. She left, clearly thinking she'd outsmarted me. 2 days later, the detective called. They were charging Lauren with identity theft and fraud. He asked if I'd testify if needed. I said yes. He said he'd keep me updated. Lauren was arrested on a Thursday morning. The detective informed me she'd likely be released on her own recognizance after arraignment. I thanked him. Her family lost it. Her dad left a voicemail cursing me out. Her mom showed up at my workplace, sobbing, and security had to escort her out. Her sister sent a long message saying I was ruining Lauren's future over a mistake. I ignored them all. Lauren made bail and stayed with her parents. She kept trying to contact me from different numbers. I blocked them. Her emails went to spam. A cousin messaged me online, saying the family understood I was upset, but that pressing charges was too much. They said Lauren had learned her lesson. I replied that she'd committed a felony and would face the consequences. The cousin blocked me. The wedding was 2 weeks away. A lawyer I didn't know called, saying he represented Lauren and wanted to negotiate. I said there was nothing to discuss. He said Lauren would pay restitution and attend counseling if I dropped the charges. I refused. He called me unreasonable and I hung up. On the wedding day, I drove to the vineyard venue around noon, parking where I could see the entrance without being noticed. Guests arrived by 1:30, wedding party, photographers, everyone dressed up. It looked pricey. At 2:15 p.m., a repo truck pulled in. I tipped them off the day before about Tony's car, and they confirmed an active repossession order due to missed payments by Tony and his dad. The driver spotted the black Charger near the entrance, hooked it up in seconds, and worked efficiently. Guests started pointing. Someone ran into the ceremony area. Tony, in his tux, rushed out, yelling at the driver, who showed him the paperwork. Tony's dad joined, both arguing as the driver kept working. The bride appeared on the steps, visibly upset. The truck drove off with the car. Tony stood there, stunned. His dad was furious. Guests gathered, confused. The bride was in tears. The photographer kept snapping photos like nothing was wrong. Lauren spotted my car and marched over, screaming that I'd ruined her brother's wedding on purpose. She called me a monster. I said I hadn't done anything. Tony's failure to pay caused this. She accused me of calling the repo company. I challenged her to prove it. She couldn't, just kept yelling. Her dad approached, looking ready to smash my window. I held up my phone, recording. He stopped, told Lauren to back off, and they returned to the ceremony. The family glared at me from afar. I started my car and left. That night, I got about 30 messages, mostly threats. One from an uncle I'd never met said he knew my address. I sent that to the police. Everyone else got blocked. The wedding went on after a delay, judging by social media photos. Everyone smiling. No trace of the parking lot chaos. Lauren's court date was 3 weeks later. She took a plea deal. Guilty to attempted identity theft, 2 years probation, 200 hours of community service, and a fine. No jail, but a criminal record. Her lawyer called, saying I should be satisfied with my revenge. I said it was justice, not revenge. He hung up. Tony's marriage fell apart 4 months later. The bride couldn't move past the wedding day fiasco and filed for divorce, citing emotional distress. Tony somehow blamed me. Lauren emailed me 6 months after sentencing, saying she'd completed anger management for her probation and realized her mistake. She'd prioritized family without thinking of the fallout. I didn't reply. Her belongings were still in my garage. I texted her once, giving her a weekend to collect them. She came with her mom, loaded a truck in silence, and left. I watched from the window and changed my locks afterward, though she'd never had keys to the new ones. A year later, I ran into her dad at a gas station. He was 2 pumps over, staring at me without a word. I finished and drove off. That was the last I saw of them. The ordeal cost me about $2,000 in time and legal fees, better than $50,000 in debt for a car I didn't want. My credit was fine. The bank sent an apology letter for not catching it sooner and added security to my account. I started dating again 8 months later. On our second date, I told the woman about Lauren. She asked if I felt guilty. I said no, people need to face the consequences of their actions. She agreed. We dated a few months, but it didn't last. At least she didn't try to steal my identity. Tony sent a friend request on social media about 18 months later. I declined. He messaged, saying he wanted to apologize for his bad choices and letting Lauren drag him into it. He said he was trying to do better. I considered replying but didn't. Some apologies don't fix what's broken. Lauren's mom called around the same time, leaving a voicemail saying Lauren was doing well, working steadily, and staying out of trouble. She said Lauren wanted closure. I deleted it. We'd had closure when she pled guilty. My lawyer said I'd handled it well, that many people buckle under family pressure or guilt. I said I felt no guilt. She said that was healthy, enabling bad behavior helps no one. I still live in the same house, work the same job. Life goes on. I sometimes think about the wedding, the shock on Tony's face, the chaos in the lot, the bride crying. I feel a bit sorry for her, caught in their mess. But that wasn't my fault. It was Lauren's choice to steal my identity, Tony's choice to go along, and their family's choice to lie instead of ask honestly. They made their choices. The consequences were just that, consequences. I sleep soundly.